What's up, guys? It's Rick Ginn. And a little technical difficulties. I am here on the road. I have actually been out for a couple of weeks. We're on the West Coast in California, specifically LA, if you look behind me today. So it just took a little bit longer with, you guys got serious traffic over here. That's all I can tell you. So today we're talking all about living your dream wholesaling life. How can I live in Florida, be over in California, bounce around to Canada, and then go down to the Keys in the Caribbean. And it's really simple. It's just called wholesaling real estate. So the reason I did this, when I started out, I couldn't do this at first. So I'm going to show you guys how you can actually get into this business, number one. And number two, once you get some time and energy under you, you can actually wholesale anywhere you want in the United States. It is a little technique we call virtual wholesaling, which means you can pick any market. It can be your backyard. It can be a virtual market, maybe somewhere you grew up, maybe somewhere you went to school, or maybe you have an old friend that you can work with on that. And that is virtual wholesaling. So we actually had the X-Leads event just last week, just outside of LA in Riverside. And I want to thank everybody who came out that. It was awesome. It was excellent. It was a lot of fun. I got to know a lot of people. And you guys definitely entertained us. So we do appreciate it. Me and Zach decided to spend a couple days behind in LA to get some business done, look at some more real estate, and why not spend more time out here with the family and visit everything LA has to offer. So if you guys are new to wholesaling, do me a favor. I'm going to put it, where is it? I'm going to put it right here on the bottom of the screen. And I thought I had it here. Here it is. If you are brand new to wholesaling, do me a favor, go over to freewholesaling.com. It is a 100% free course that doesn't cost you a dime. It'll actually teach you, with 30 years of wholesaling experience behind you, how to get started in wholesaling, why it is so beneficial to learn wholesaling, and how to most importantly become financially free and really freedom of your time. Make sure you check that out. If you found us, you're in the right place. All we talk about is wholesaling. I don't talk about anything else because that's what I'm known for. That's what I do. And that's what me and Zach teach you guys. So if you want to cut through the truth and figure out how to do this business without all these ridiculous paywalls, without all the confusion, without people scaring you about wholesaling, go to freewholesaling.com. Not only is it legal, you can learn it for free. And honestly, if you want to free your lifestyle and be on the road and do stuff like this and bounce all over the country or anywhere in the world, I've yet to see anything better than wholesaling to get it done. Now, did I start out doing this? Absolutely not. And I'm not here to say you're going to start out and then you can bounce all around wherever you want in the US or the United States or the world. But the reality is, once you get this business dialed in, once you understand how to truly market for wholesale deals, once you learn how to talk to sellers, how to qualify them, and most importantly, write the contracts and sell your contracts, that's what wholesaling is about. So go over to freewholesaling.com. I got it scrolling across the bottom here. Check it out. We've had it up for 4 years right now. It is hands down the best wholesaling course. If you don't believe me, go there, download it. You don't even download it. You just look at it. We host all the servers, and you can compare it to anybody else's course. We don't hold back. We give it to you. The reason we do it is because I have to give you the truth about wholesaling. And once I give you the truth about wholesaling, and you'll step up to the plate and actually do the marketing and take the time and learn and invest in yourself. How do you invest in yourself? With your time. It's not always money. Everybody thinks everything you do to get ahead of life is about money. No, you're going to have to make an investment in yourself. You're going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to make offers, and you're going to have to get rejected a lot. But what you get in return, the payoff, is absolutely huge. So without further ado, let me catch up on some questions. So once again, I'm sorry I'm late, but it is what it is. So sometimes you're on the road. We have some technical difficulties and we have to do it. So yeah, we got a little bit of a time difference, but no big deal. We're figuring it out. So okay, let me start that. So let's jump into it. So we're talking all about virtual wholesaling, and really the main thing with it is when we talk about, hey, how can I do what I want when I want, is you have to understand the first and foremost thing. It doesn't matter where you live. And what do I mean by that is a lot of you are stuck in your head. I live in this small town or I live in this huge town and I can't find a deal here. And because of that, wholesaling saturated and maybe I just need to quit. No. Listen, in my opinion, there's only so many saturated markets. Saturated market just means there's other active wholesalers in your area, but most people never go deeper in that. The reality is most people wholesaling are pretty much new to it, and it has a high failure rate. Me and Zach don't even hide that from you. And if you know that, all you have to do is outlast the other wholesalers. That's it. That's all you have to do. In fact, I'm going to give you a little bit of statement. All these saturated markets you guys tell me, I'm in South Florida. I do a lot of other supposedly saturated markets across the country. Saturation is typically people who don't understand wholesaling and they want it to go real easy and they find it's a lot more work and then they just hide behind the excuse saturation. Let me give you my definition of saturation. There's a thing called price saturation. What do I mean by price saturation? A market can either be inundated by wholesale saturation, which is way too many wholesalers pursuing few wholesale deals, or you can have price saturation. Two completely different worlds. Number one, if I talk about there's too many wholesalers in the market, I honestly believe that is a fabricated tale. We all tell ourselves to make ourselves feel better. I've had competition since 2003 in wholesaling. It never stops. And I found out real quickly that most people wholesaling, A, have no idea what they're doing, B, thinks it's super, super easy and will be just like their 9-to-5 job, and C, they all think they're going to make a ton of money with very little bit of ability to work. And we all know that's not true. If you follow me and Zach, you understand it. I'm like, well, I'm not going to say that. The reality is, if you start making up tales in your head and start telling yourself the same old story over and over, it's eventually going to come true. Now, if you think your market's too saturated with wholesalers, it just means you're not doing enough. Period. So that excuse has to go out the door. Here's the exception to the rule. If you're in a price saturated market, what do I mean? Where the entry level price is usually $750,000 to $800,000 or higher. Now, why do I say that? If you go to markets like San Francisco, New York City, Manhattan specifically, if you go to Miami, certain markets like that, even small sections of Chicago. But remember, every section that has $1 million and plus prices, they still have some basic blue collar houses where people can live so they can service the community and do the jobs. The reality is, if I'm saying San Francisco, can I do 5 to 7 deals a month? Odds are no. It's just the truth, because the prices, the market's so established, the weather's so wonderful there. Like I'm here in California right now. Like I get why people live here. I mean, I wake up, it's like 54 degrees and the highest temperature gets around 71, 72. I assume it gets hotter here in the summer. You guys let me know, especially the ones that are here. But all the way from San Fran down to San Diego, where I've been, I mean, I get it. The weather's wonderful. I've yet to see many clouds. You got some fog, you got some smog, but compared to where I live, I see why people like California. But the problem is, this is not a secret. People have figured this out for years. And if I go to Florida and I go to California and I look purely on weather, even when they had an earthquake here today, shocker, down in San Diego, I didn't feel it, is I don't have the humidity in California. I can pretty much grow anything I want. I don't have the torrential downpour rains. If I had to pick, that's why California and places like New York blew up so fast. Now, New York gets much colder and it gets pretty hot in the summer. It's not my favorite place. Culturally, it's one of the neatest places, but I get what the big draw is in California. So if I'm in a place like San Francisco, I'm going to have to make a decision. I will still tell everybody that you always want to participate in your local wholesale market. It never, ever changes for me. So it doesn't really matter where you live, and we got to stop doing that. What we have to understand is this: all real estate is local. So even if you're one of these price saturation markets, say like San Francisco or like Manhattan or Miami, I don't want you to stop marketing locally in your real estate community. In fact, this is a person by person business. You're going to have to find someone to get a deal in wholesaling. And I will never stop with this. My famous acronym, ODN, they're going to have to be off market. Why? Because the competition's fierce in these cities. You have zero shot if it's on market. Hands down. So with the realtor, you're done. Number two, direct a seller. Why? You need to find the story behind that seller. The really cool things about these price saturated markets is the demand is usually through the roof. So if you have a quality product, a great house, and the demand's there, you just need to get a slight discount. And the only way you're going to get that is off market, talking directly to the seller. And usually in these types of markets, a seller is going to have a reason to sell the property, meaning they can't just want to sell the house. It means they need to sell the house. So if I get them off market, direct to seller, needs to sell, if I hit all three of these in a price saturated market, guys, I'm getting a good deal one way or the other. Am I getting it 50 cents on the dollar? No. All I need is a 10 to 15% gap, and I can make a six-figure spread like that because the prices are so big. But here's the reality. If you're in San Fran, Miami, Manhattan, I mean, the list can go on. It's not always about the size of the city. It's about the Okay, I'm back. You can tell I do this live. So I'm on the road, a little technical difficulties. So what I was going back saying is all real estate is local, period. It always will be. And so even if you're in these saturated markets on price, still do your local. But say I'm in San Fran, Manhattan, Miami, and you can't find the price points, you can't find the deals. This is where we just basically move on and we just jump on and we do a little thing called virtual wholesaling. Now, full disclosure, I never started out doing virtual wholesaling, not even close, not anywhere near it. And if you understand that, is the reason is back then we didn't have the technology for it. Honestly, we didn't really have very good software. Most of the time we had to use realtors. And number three, we didn't know the dang markets at all. So it was really hard. I remember back in 2013, 14, when I first did virtual wholesaling, the fallout rate on the contracts was super high. So let me give you an example. In our local markets, we're typically around 80, 85% everything we close. And that 10 to 15% gap is usually because you have a title problem. It is never due to us. Now, because why? We can verify everything. I can send somebody out there. When I go out and do virtual wholesaling, a lot of times sellers will not tell us the honest to God truth on what the repair is on it, or sometimes they don't even know. And because we're doing it virtual, we don't really look at the house. We have somebody else look at it for us. We're going to have a higher contract fall through rate. Why? Because if I contract a property and we say the estimated repairs are around $10,000 or $12,000 and they wind up being $50,000 to $70,000, then we have to renegotiate the price to make that work. Because if the seller doesn't tell me or the seller doesn't know, I thought I was making $50,000, and then once I found out the repairs, I'm not making any money. So either we have to get out of the contract or we have to get a reduction. So what is the typical stick rate for a virtual wholesale deal? When you're new to it, it's pretty rough. I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of times it is 40, 50, 55%. But even a seasoned veteran like myself and Zach, 60s, very rarely are going to penetrate into the 70%. Why? Sometimes you can't see the damage on the property, sellers don't know, or sellers are lying to you. Our biggest problem with these properties is verifying the condition, because when they know that you're not going to go look at it, they'll typically push for the highest price, and that is the main reason. Now, don't let that scare you. We lock up everything. Why? Because if you sit around and wait forever, people like me or Zach will come in and take those types of deals. So what we have to do is we have to trust what our sellers say, but we're taking all these deals down over by the phone. And at some point, someone's got to look at the property. It's either going to be our buyers, we send out a representative, someone to take photos, whatever it is, and then we find out there's a surprise in the property. Maybe the roof's got a leak in it, something like that. And that is the reason for the difference in it. So if you understand you have local, which I always want everyone to do, it is hands down the most powerful whenever you're going to have a belly-to-belly conversation. It doesn't matter if you're in San Francisco. I have a good friend of mine that lives out in San Francisco. He flips about 2 to 4 properties a year, but on average, he's making $300,000 or $400,000 a property. Now, is he a master wholesaler? Absolutely not. But he is a master at understanding his market. He knows he's got to get off-market properties. He's always trying to get direct to seller, even though sometimes he has to go through a realtor. And he typically finds someone that needs to sell. Now, if you understand that, out of the 3 I just told you, off-market, direct to seller, needs to sell. In my opinion, to even have a shot at a wholesale deal, you usually want to get 2 out of the 3 on those. Doesn't matter which ones they are. 1 out of 3 is pretty much the kiss of death. Occasionally you can get them, but your closing ratio is going to be very, very tiny. Now, give me a deal with all 3 of those things. Unless you screw it up, you should get a great wholesale deal. I like to simplify wholesaling because I think most people massively, massively overcomplicate it. And I want everybody to understand watching this video. If you can get OD and off-market direct seller, it needs to sell. If you decide to do it locally, you decide to do it virtually. Some of you guys do virtually exclusive. The only thing I ask is, if you're doing virtually, please do not ignore your local market, even if you're brand new. So say a Florida guy like me just bounced out here, moved to LA, and just decided to start wholesaling. Virtually, I would still take my time. I would pick my area, and I would pick away and hunt. I do driving for dollars. I would get leads. I would get code violations, every type of government list. I would use X leads. Whatever I had to get leads, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I want you to do too. So many people think, oh, I'm just going to do my local market. I'm telling you, if you're doing your local market and you are hitting it out of the park, I'm happy for you. Go pick one virtual market and go dominate it, or go find someone to pair up with. Go to Wholesaling Houses for Real, our largest Facebook wholesaling group in the entire world. You can go to ZachDiscord.com, the largest Discord wholesaling group in the entire world. You can go to our YouTube channel, Flip with Rick. We're the largest wholesalers because we're the only ones that actually talk about wholesaling. That's all we do. That's our main focus. Do I occasionally talk about a creative financing? Yes. If it comes off my wholesaling leads, why not? Listen, guys, wholesaling is the art of getting a highly paid job. I don't even hide it from anybody, and make a minimum six figures, even if you don't know what you're doing. That's just the God's honest to truth, and show you how you can grow some $1 million, actually net $1 million with some experience, if you'll give me 2 years of sacrifice. That's it. I don't care what your age is. I don't care what your education is. I don't care what your background is. I don't care if you're rich, you're broke, you're poor. And honestly, the more broke you are, the probably more drawn you are into wholesaling, because you're tired of trying to trade your time for dollars, because you know that's not going to work in 2025. So if you found this channel and that's what you want to do, that's what you would do. So the next biggest question everyone's always going to have, they're going to go, hey, Rick, how do I pick a market? Like, how do I do it? And the reality is, don't overcomplicate this. I'm about to give you a hack that will simply show you how to do this with the greatest of ease. And honestly, within 2 to 3 days, you can simply pick out your market. Now, I'm not one of these people that are going to go, you need to go get an analyst. You got to like suck in data. You can do whatever you want. Honestly, you want to go to xleads.com. It'll do all the data for you, but I'm going to show you a little bit easier way today, because I don't like to do it that way. Because the problem is, if we look at market trends, if we look at realtors reports, we go to our National Board of Realtors for your area, most of that data is lagging by 2 to 3 months. And so if you're trying to go off of a trend, it's so far behind, you have to take and consider what's going on in the market right now. Remember, what's put under contract today will reflect in 3 months down on the report. For the most part across the country, inventories levels are going up. There are still big pockets where the inventory is still very, very short. My example in South Florida, our inventory is really ratcheting up. We're around 9, 10 months approaching that now. A healthy market is around 6, 7 months. And a seller's market is anything really under, I'd say 5 months. 4 months is a smoke and seller's market, and so on. So now we're approaching 9 or 10. The problem is it keeps escalating. And the more properties that go on the market, the more pressure there is on price. Because if you have a dozen houses built at similar time, very similar amenities, the only way to win is by ease of access and showing the house, and by offering them bonuses, trying to buy down the rate. Some people throw in a car, flat screen TV, you name it, solar panels, the whole 9 yards. And that's what puts pressure on price. Now, you want to go somewhere where it's real simple, where everybody else wants to go. So am I going to pick California? Am I going to pick New York? No. And I'm here to tell you right now, I'm not going to pick Florida, because Florida's getting in one of those problematic price areas. And Florida and California have two very unique issues with it. Our weather patterns here has created chaos for the insurance companies to cover our properties. In Florida, we just have massive problems with hurricanes. Nobody wants to cover Florida. We know that. In California, between the wildfires and the earthquakes, they have the same problem. So I'm probably going to recommend you to stay away from those 2 states, even though they're 2 states I absolutely love, because honestly, they don't even make much financial sense in a rental. And I own a lot of rentals in Florida. And thank God I bought them a long time ago, because I could never make the numbers work right now. Florida has a very high property tax issue. I'm not sure of the exact numbers in California. Anybody on the live stream that wants to share it, that'd be great. So how do we pick a market? I like simplicity. I like to go where the deals are. I don't have time to hire an analyst, buy an expensive research package to analyze the data and look at this. I look at simple things. Number one, is the environment and the weather right? And when you look at weather, you now have to look at insurance carriers. Is that a place that is going to be easy to insure? Is it hard? Like Florida, hurricanes? Uh-oh. So the Carolinas on the coast, they have issues with it. We all saw what happened with the floods this previous year. That was terrible. And then we look at places up by rivers in the Mississippi with flooding and stuff like that. It's becoming a real issue on getting these properties insured. So I'm going to look whether, number one, I'm going to look at, is this a place where people love to go? California is an absolute no-brainer. Look at all this sunshine. You got the Hollywood Hills in the background. I have no idea what that is. There's a drone flying right out my window coming up here close. Should get interesting. But that is the amazing part of everything we do here, and we have to understand. So do people go to it? Is it nice and sunny, or is it like 300 degrees? It's up to you to decide that. I'm also looking at, do the insurance companies, do they want to insure there or do they don't? I've already given you 2 states where they absolutely don't want us to insure us, and politicians are going to have to figure out something, although they don't figure out much, figure out how to do it. That's number one. The second part is, where are the jobs and the population going? Where? Now, Florida is an extremely positive place for employment because there's still, in my opinion, plenty of jobs. There's actually a shortage of labor. And to me, it's not that hard to get a job, I would assume, in other parts of the country too. But once again, you have to look up statistics and figure out all of that. So number one, is it good weather? Is it good for me? And is it good for my property? Number two, are people going in that state or are they coming out of that state? Very important to know. And number three, you can look at big box stores because they do a lot of the heavy research for you. You look at the Home Depots, you look at the Lowe's, you look at the Starbucks, do a count in a population. They only put stores where they believe they're going to make a profit and they believe there's demand, which has to be population, which is what you're going to need too. I love wholesaling in small towns, but they're not going to work from a virtual wholesaling standpoint. Give you an example, the Dakotas are out of the question. It's very hard to find people to buy those types of houses unless you're local. So I've identified where you want to look. Now, here's the cheat sheet. Here's what I want everybody to know when they do this. This is really, really simple. So I'm going to save you and show you how. I'm reading all your comments. So my ADHD kicks in to do 2 things at once. There's an easier way to find where your cash buyers are. Very, very simple. So I've already told you to go on social media. You can dig there, Zach Discord, Wholesaling Houses for Real. Freewholesaling.com and our free school community, the largest community on school for wholesaling. Go ahead and check that out there. But when you get there, what you want to do is look for cash buyers in that market. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a secret, and please don't share it outside of me, but it's the truth, so I don't hide it. What if I can show you how to reverse engineer other ego-minded wholesalers so you don't have to do all this work? And I used to spend weeks, if not months, researching markets. And somebody just a little bit more practical on me, actually just one of the assistants I had at the time was just like, why don't you just find the other wholesalers that are bragging in those markets and then just go there and take over their market? I'm just like, isn't that cheating? Isn't it like, isn't there like a code of ethics? Listen, I've always told you the number one killer of all wholesalers is their ego. Let me give you an example of ego. Anyone who always has to be right, anyone who constantly responds whenever they're attacked because they have to be right, and anyone who thinks they're like the greatest at anything. I'm the best. There's nobody better than me. Well, I was that age once before. Remember, I didn't start until my early 30s. And I did this. And I gave away so many free markets to people. I didn't even learn from my own lessons. And I got humbled quickly. People were hacking my buyers. They were hacking my markets. They were hacking every type of marketing medium did. So I decided to shut my mouth. Now, I want to help everybody out. And I go over to freewholesaling.com to help everybody out. But here's all you do, guys. You find young kids like me at the time, which was in my 30s. Find the ones that actually do deals. The problem is the internet's loaded with people who say they do a ton of stuff, but some of them have done but 5 or 10 properties, which to me is a good week. It's not a good year. and find the ones that actually do it. How do you do it? You look up on public records, or you either get a copy of the HUDs that they show. My first, I think 10 years, all I did was show HUD after HUD after HUD. It just got ridiculous. And the reality is those are the ones I did personally. I have a team that works with me now. I said we do it locally, virtually, and then we do a national JV program. And I got a bunch of people watching here that I've done a ton of deals with, and I got 7 active ones going on right now, which I absolutely love, but they take a lot of energy. So it's more than me. I just teach my team how to do it. But what you want to do is find the people that actually do deals, not the ones that, remember, we need people that actually do the business. And then if they're going to go out there and hey, get on my cash buyers list, just get on their list. It's simple. And once you get on their list, they're going to do automations. They're going to take their phones. They're going to want to text you. They're going to want to email you. My 2 favorite ways people send me deal information. And once I get their little brochure or their website or their landing page with all the different deals they have available and all the previous deals they've done, I just simply reverse engineer it. How do I reverse engineer it? It's real simple. Get on their cash buyers list. They don't scrub them. They don't understand the value of what a cash buyer is. They've been taught their entire life bigger is better. And that is a complete lie when it comes to a cash buyers list. You've got to have vetted, verified people on your cash buyers list. I don't care if you only have 5 or 6 buyers on there. You're more powerful than the guy or gal that has I got 50,000 cash buyers. No, you don't. You got 50,000 wholesalers like me that are reverse engineering. Now, once I get it, once I find that wholesaler and I get on his list, I start copying down all the information. Now, some of them make it really nice. They put pictures, addresses, and prices sold. I go into the records. Once again, I'm going to double verify that what they say, what they're advertising is true. It's not that hard to figure out. We even have a filter inside of X Leads where you can find anyone who does a double closing. You can reverse engineer any other wholesaler, but you don't need to do it that way, but it's always available to you. Once I know they're doing business, I get on there. I then take the address, I take the price, and most importantly, the zip code. Once you have those 3 pieces of information, you have a treasure map to find wholesale deals. This is how I found the state of Tennessee when I first started doing this. When I did my first virtual wholesale market in Knoxville, everyone kept posting about how great it was. Within, I think, 3 hours, me and Zach got up, got the marketing going, and had deal flow going through our pipeline. And the beauty of doing virtual wholesaling is you need to pick a market where you're actually going to get deals. You're not going to live in these houses. You're not going to do that. So you need to find where you got great populations of people moving to. You have good weather. And the one thing I forgot is people look at state income taxes very, very carefully. Now, the one problem with California here is if you look out at this wonderful city in LA, is they have this thing, their taxes in California are just brutal. Like, that's why they have so many people leaving the state. I believe the state is so nice, the weather's so good, and the secret's out that the government always overreach what they can do, and they're going to have to unwind and fix some problems. I'm not here to get a political conversation, but we have to look at the politics of how they charge for taxes. Now, everybody knows we pay our federal taxes. I'm talking specifically about state income tax. Now, some states, a lot of people think, they think Florida, there's no income tax there. There's a corporate tax in Florida, 5.5%. I know it very well. Anything over 50 grand, you're paying that. So a lot of people think, even like the wonderful state of Tennessee, prices are great, weather's great. People are going in there, a very positive political alignment for people who live there. But they have a state income tax. But I'm telling you, I would look past it because it's nothing like the state of California. And I wouldn't worry about it so much. You need to find out what it is, understand it. I'm not an extreme person that's going to move halfway across the world just to save a few bucks in taxes. Nobody knows how much time you have on this earth, and that's a strategy that you can do. A lot of software developers do it. Me and Zach would never do something like that because it's terribly inconvenient to move to a place you don't want to be. And hey, if that's your game, go ahead and do it. But the idea is just by getting on these cash buyers list, you can pretty much do anything. And instead of spending all this time in the research, I think in a day or two, you can find a virtual wholesale market and you can run wherever you want. Now, the challenge is you're going to live all the way on. The other thing is, if you're going to do virtual wholesaling, I'm in a 3-hour time difference right now. I've been out here so long, I've gotten used to it. Like when I go back, I gotta take away 3 hours. It's going to be a mess for me. But if you're over in Europe, you have anywhere from a 6 to 9 hour time difference. And if you went over to the Philippines, it could be as many as 10 to 13 hour difference. Or if you went over in the Middle East or anything like that, I don't even know what it is in Dubai. It's just almost like another day. These are all things that you can take in consideration when you do it. But like when I'm in here in LA, is I just get up around 5 a.m. so I can do my normal business structure that I do in Florida because it's a 3-hour time difference. So I like to get an early start to the day. It's a little bit different over here. It's like a later start, but you can make it work. Why is virtual wholesaling so powerful? It's because if you're in a market where you have price saturation, I don't care about wholesaler saturation. I don't want to hear about it because I don't believe that actually exists, and you have to understand that. So if you want to do that, find a market where you can absolutely find somebody else, piggyback on them, take their information, and then run with it. And then you're saying, Rick, what if I get something under contract? What am I going to do? That's easy. That's easy. Because here's the next question guys are going, does virtual wholesaling scare you? The only reason it's going to scare you is because you've never done it before. And it is just like doing it in your backyard. The only difference is you're mostly working on the phone. So you're going to have to get your gift of gab down. What do I mean by that? Practice on your local market. Practice on Zillow leads. Practice on old leads. And you have to become very good on the phone. If you're not going to be good on the phone and you can't go in person, how else are you going to get better? So you're going to have to carefully listen in on the inflection of your seller's voice. You're going to have to listen for pauses, for grunts, or like people screaming at you because they don't like your price. That is the part that scares most of you, and it's not that big of a deal. The last part is like, Rick, how do I verify the deal? You're going to have someone go out and look at it 9 times out of 10. Now, a little trick here is a lot of times we have the sellers send us pictures and videos. The only problem is pictures and videos don't always tell the story. Sometimes houses stink and you can't see it on a picture or video. And number 2, sometimes pictures just don't do the house justice. And I'm not saying that in a good way. So if sellers are always optimistic, sometimes they don't see their own filth in their house. Remember, we're looking for problematic properties. I find properties that most other people don't want, because if someone needs to sell a property, it's usually not an ideal situation of the condition of the property. We are fine with that as wholesalers. So instead of you trying to get everything perfect like you guys do in your local market, here's the only difference and I want you to understand, everything goes down on the phone. And number 2, you've got to lock them up right away. You'll have an inspection contingency period. Do not wait till you get all the information, because you're never going to get it all and you're going to miss out on great deals. People like me are going to go much faster than you, and I don't want you to do that, period. Now, here's the really cool thing is if you're on the road and you're probably thinking, Rick, how do I manage all my paperwork? How do I do everything? Guys, I can't make this any simpler for you. I can't make it any simpler. I'll even put it on the bottom here for you. Our entire business is ran off X leads. All our contracts. I've done at least 8 contracts since I've been out here. How do you do that? Inside our Ninja mode, inside of X leads, we basically have a free e-signing. How many of you guys are paying for all these electronic services? We build it in it because we know what the mobile wholesaler needs, the virtual wholesaler needs, and we put it in our Ninja mode, which is basically our go high level. You have access to that. Why is that so powerful? Because I can send it off to the seller. I can put an e-sign in there. I put all my templates in there. I'm on the road, and all I really have is a notepad, my computer, and my phone. That's all I need. So I'm just telling you guys can go anywhere you need and get this done. With softwares like X Leads, I can do all my comping. I can generate my comp reports. I can generate my repair reports. I can skip trace anybody I want. I can get their email. I can get all their information, and I just go to town. And then when I get one under contract, I simply send it out in an e-sign. Then I send that out in a blast to my marketplace. And then I'm going to do the traditional marketing, and I'm going to get that thing sold, period. That is the difference. The old ways, it was really hard. And so an old time wholesaler like me, if I can go on the road 17, 18, 19 days without actually being in my office, I do talk to my staff every day. I'm not going to tell you that's not done. If I can do it, you can easily do it. Now, you don't have to start out doing this, but even if you're doing this local or you're doing it virtually, and say you're a year into it or 6 months into it, and you need to go on the road maybe to help out mom or dad or something like that, I want you to know you have plenty of tools now that you can virtually, without losing your mind, do wholesaling from the road from anywhere you want. And I want you to keep that in mind. In fact, my entire dream with wholesaling was to do stuff like just go where I want. I can bring my wife. I get to travel with my son. Sometimes I get my daughter to come along, and it's a blast. And we go from town to town. We're in a high rise and an Airbnb here, and it's just a lot of fun. So I think I've stayed in 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 7 or 8 different Airbnbs. We've been up in the mountains. We went up in the hills. We went down to San Diego the other day. Went up by the north part of the coast. And the thing is, I just had to follow my business plan. Now, the really cool thing is I have X leads on my phone. I have email access, and everything's actually a piece of cake. So if I can do it, Mr. ADHD and everything be all over the board, you have no excuse why you can't do it. So I want to just wrap this up, and then we're going to take some questions here. Is if you guys are complaining about a saturated market, there's 1 or 2 camps you fit in. There's just too many wholesalers here. I can't make it work. That's a cop-out. Most wholesalers suck. They have no idea what they're doing. They take expensive courses. They're told everything's done for them. They'll be taken care of. And that's most of the people you're going to deal with. And I'm just telling you, just rise above. How do I do it? Go to freewholesaling.com. I put it on the bottom right here, and actually learn how to do this business. Listen, if you ain't got the guts to do it, or you think it's going to be easy, I'm probably going to tell you to leave it right now. It's just the truth. But if you're one of those select few that want to step up to the plate and actually get it done, do it. I've been doing this 23 years. I love people say, oh, it's going to be banned. It's going to be illegal. I had the same stuff fed to me 2003, 2004. It's just coming to you at different formats now. Are there more pressures on wholesaling on how we market ours? Absolutely. But that's been around forever. I already told you, you shouldn't be mass emailing. You shouldn't be texting people your deals. We are selling contracts. And if we follow the law, the federal law of how to assign a contract, and we give full disclosures depending on what state on it, you should be just fine. Like, don't let everybody scare you out on this. There's a reason. If someone's trying to scare you, it's usually a hidden agenda. There's something going on behind the scenes, because the guys and gals that really wholesale, I mean, people like me that do it for a living, it doesn't even slightly bother us what's going on. It's like a little flea on the shoulder of a dog. The people that get obsessed about it, 9 times out of 10, they're going to sell you the cure for it. And I find it funny, the same people that decide wholesaling has problems now, it's illegal, are there different laws you have to navigate around it? Absolutely. But it's always been changing. Ever since I've been doing this 2003, I know probably the guys in the 70s were bitching back then. And like, it's an evolution of society. Yes, do we have bad apples in wholesaling? Absolutely. But the problem is when we have people talking about how bad wholesalers are, especially the people that supposedly represent this business, that's where you got to go, listen, we're not all bad. And in fact, I would say most wholesalers are very good. I always told people, you have to solve a lot of problems and big problems to get paid. If you don't want to solve problems and help people out, I promise you, wholesaling is not the business for you. But we can't govern, we can't mandate, we can't force people to take courses and get certifications, because realtors already do that, and realtors commit more crimes probably than any other association I've ever seen. Lawyers, the same thing. They're disbarred all the time and go to jail all the time. So we've already seen 2 other industries where you can regulate it to the highest standard. You're still going to have people that are problematic. And I can't control everyone. God knows I wish I could, but like, why am I going to waste my time trying to empower and do that? So if you truly want to wholesale, if you want to do it locally or virtually or do a combo of both, which is always going to be my recommendation, let me know in the chat, because that's the people I'm looking for. And the reason we put it up, I'm going to get in the questions right now, the freewholesaling.com, The reason we put it up is to show you how this business works and take away the paywall that everybody makes it so complicated. Have you ever wondered if you try to buy someone's course, they won't let you look at it beforehand? Like imagine going to a really nice clothing store and buying a pair of jeans or a jacket and not trying it on and fit it. They're going, no, you just got to buy it. You can't even see it. Here's a picture of it on the internet. None of you would do it. Let me ask you, would you buy a book that says, let me show you how to cut your marathon time in half in one run? You don't do it because you all know it's like BS. It's not for real. A lot of these courses in wholesaling, it's like you're not going to get rich overnight. I don't know how to tell you this. In fact, I've always said you don't get rich overnight in wholesaling. You get richer every day in wholesaling by making yourself better, familiarizing yourself on how to work with the contracts, the paperwork, and how to become a master marketer, because this is the last one I'll leave with you. We'll do the questions, is you have to master marketing in wholesaling. Anybody who tells you can skip it and have someone just send you the leads, I promise you, is going to struggle. So I've been doing this business 23 years. It is so important you understand how to derive your own wholesale leads, because this day and age where you can get people to do everything for you, if you have to pay market price for anything and bid for leads, like a PPL or PPC, PPL is just PPC done for you, along with SEO, there's a cost of diminishing return. It's called your ROI, or you can call your ROI, your ad spend. And the problem is, if I spend 30 grand to make 10 grand, did I get any further? No. And the problem is when you bid market price based on demand, I don't go to auctions in real estate. I don't go to foreclosure sales and stuff like that. Why? Because I don't want to be the highest bidder. When you do PPL, you are the highest bidder. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It is not for a newbie, and nobody ever really shares with you how many leads you actually need and how do I know those leads are legitimate. If I thought everything was a one and done for you, I would do it. PPL works better in some markets than others, but for the most part, if it takes 15, 20 deals to close it and your cost per deal is, you got to do the mathematical equation. And I don't think most of these companies are going to give you what the return on investment is per market, because a lot of it has to do with your experience level. And I'll just leave it there. I've always gotten my own leads. I've never had a problem doing it. And that's why I don't spend a fortune on leads. And if you want to learn how to do it, go over to freewholesaling.com. We teach you how to do that. Go over to our school group, get involved, interact with other people, join us on the Zach Discord, join us on Wholesaling Houses for Real, jump on Rick Ginn's channel, jump on Zach Ginn's channel, and that's how you learn wholesaling. I don't have this big magic wand to wave on you, but I want you guys, everybody, to understand that. So let me jump on some questions because I am behind here. Yeah, I know. So one, if you're referring to mass email, you're talking about our EOG program, go over to xleads.com, and that's where we record that video, or look at the video recorded last Thursday. Zach did it. He went into detail. I believe that was an hour and a half. Hopefully that answers your question. Juan's always active on here, so like doing. So just like Justin says about cold emails, me and Zach bring to the marketplace what we're having success in our market, and we share it with you. I don't believe there's any other software that'll let you do it other than XLeads, because you need the skip tracing. And if you want to do up to $30,000 a month, you better have free skip tracing built into your account. So check that out. That's what most people are referring to. Let's put on this one. I'll tell you up. He says, Rick, I got a question. Is it wise to invest in a triplex in Houston to house hack this year while wholesaling? Family and I plan on moving there this summer from IE and still wholesale. Honestly, it just comes down to the numbers. So you got to share some numbers with me if you want to put it in the private chat or you want to put it in the public. And if you want, I can go over the numbers with you publicly. When it comes down to a triplex, it's still going to be based mostly off comps. Anything 4 units or less are going to be based off comps first. So I'd start with comps on it. You can go through X Leads, or you can reach out to somebody as X Leads will help you out with that. Number two, look at the cash flow comps. What are they going to rent for, and what are my expenses? And you got to come up with a net operating income called NOI. And it's just your total income minus your expenses. That's going to be your taxes, your insurance. Leave some room for vacancy, because if one goes vacant, a third of that place is vacant. I would probably leave like a 15 to 20, maybe 20% vacancy is typically what a bank is going to calculate it at. And then once you have that NOI number, all you got to do is divide it by a cap rate. So cap is short for capitalization rate, and it's just a fancy word for your return on investment. So an average in the market right now on a money market, I can get around 4 to 4.2% with zero risk. So I don't believe it'll ever go below that number. Typically on a duplex, it's going to be in Houston, I'm assuming about a 6, maybe 6.5% cap rate. So if the net income was, say, $80,000, you divide it by that percentage, and that will give you the average price for that home. And that's how you calculate it. Simply, I like to do it off cash flow because cash flow is always king. But some markets, the comps actually go above the cash flows, and you can get away with that on any units that are 4 or less. So you just got to clarify on that. But I mean, I love Houston. I love everything. It's one of the biggest cities in the country, and is a great wholesale market. And I would definitely take a look at that. Okay, let's put up some more here. Global says, Rick, I'm having trouble getting deals in Houston, which is my local market. I love that you're doing your local market. That is the best way to get started out. There's many people doing deals here, but I am struggling. What are your thoughts? So remember earlier in this live stream, I said most people suffer from two situations when they talk about saturation. It's either price saturation, which you really don't have that big of a problem in Houston, or you have wholesale saturation. You have tons of wholesalers there. The reality is if I get 100 wholesalers, only 3 or 4 are actually writing contracts and doing deals. And you think all of these people out there marketing are like stealing from your share or like creating you the problems. Listen, if you want my thoughts, show me what you're doing right now. Like, show me yesterday exactly what you did in wholesaling. How many people did you reach out to? What's your marketing plan? And how well are you executing it? And if you're serious about it, you'll write down the numbers and go with it. In fact, if I had time, I would hop on a one-on-one with you. I would go, hey, show me what you did yesterday. Show me what you did the week before. Because when it comes down to it, you either got to kind of put up or shut up in wholesaling. Everybody wants to talk about all these cold calls they make, all these doors they knock on. You just got to go out and do it. In fact, the first 7 years, I didn't even look up until year 7. That's how entrenched I was into it. I wasn't busy trying to sell courses. There's people who just all they ever want to do is sell a course. The reason why I'm not a big giant course person is because at some point you've got to take action. You can talk about courses till you turn blue. Theory is not going to help you in wholesaling. Now, freewholesaling.com is there for you. But here's the reality. Get a daily activity worksheet. Write it down and show me how you're moving the needle on a daily basis. And keep a log for 30 days. And then transpose those numbers to an Excel spreadsheet and break down your simple KPIs. How many people did I contact that day? Cold calling, door knocking, reverse driving for dollars, whatever it is. How many government lists did I pull? What's my total lead count and how am I going to attack them? And what's my results on it? Once you do that, then I can have a great conversation with you. So I get it. You're frustrated. That's what a lot of people watching this, but I'm going to have to dig into your numbers. We hosted a 2-day workshop, me and Zach here over in Riverside. And the number one thing I went through everybody, and I just had to prove a point, is most people are like a deer in the headlights when it comes to putting the plan together. And most of you guys think someone's just going to hand you a plan and you're going to execute it. You have to create the plan. Everyone's plan is a little bit different. Somebody's got 3 small children and a full-time job. That's going to be different from the kid who's 18, who lives with his parents and has all the time in the world. But the one thing I can assure you, you have to have a plan, because either you plan for wholesaling or wholesaling will be dictated to you. How does it get dictated to you? You start searching on the internet and you look for these magic people that are going to answer all your questions. And for X amount of dollars, they'll solve your problems. but you know the truth of that. So what I want you to do is keep a daily worksheet and then sum it up at the end of the week, and then the end of each week, put it into a month. And please come back on here and share me the numbers, because I love it. I mean, I love it. But like, here's the one thing I learned, especially with me being on the road and doing wholesaling, is anytime I get frustrated, upset, or mad at anyone, it is your opportunity to look inside you and see what your problem is. And I'm not picking on you, Global. Like, actually, a lot of people feel the same way you do. And a lot of times when you're upset, mad, or struggling especially, you get desperate and you start trying to do things that aren't normal. Sometimes you try to do things that you know is not legal, and you get desperate. And when you get desperate, you have problems. So what I want you to do, instead of getting frustrated, just turn around and go, okay, let me push the numbers and see where I'm at. Also, I would like to look inside your CRM to see what the activity level is, how many people you've contacted, how many are dead leads, how many are follow-ups. And once I get inside that information, that's why I like XLeads. I can work with anybody in XLeads, and I can look inside your account and go, hey, I can already tell you what's going on here. And that's a lot of people I work with our direct mail program, Mailing to Millions, which, by the way, is free. Yeah, I said it's free. It means I don't sell anything. We have a software company which we use for the serious wholesalers that want to get started and stay in one system and be able to expand with it. And the biggest expansion piece we put on there was the Ninja mode, because we have a dialer built in there. We have the e-signing for you. We have the text blasting. We have the triple tap system in there. And now we have the EOG of mailing, where you can do up to 30,000 mail. Plus the free skip tracing, guys. It is like a no-brainer. If you want to do that, that's how you want to do it. So okay, so I'm reading something here. So Global, like, I have no idea if it's true, but Juan says you went on another influencer's channel and what was that? You did an interview, which is great. Listen, there's plenty of people out there. But if what they taught you back in 2019 doesn't work today, I got to wonder, did you get good information or not? I have no idea, like, honestly. But here's the problem so I've been doing this since 2003. Most successful wholesalers that you're going to find on the internet, they seem to have magic success after 2013 and 14. Why is that so significant? Because that's when the market got better. And I'm going to be honest with you, from 2013 to 2021, dude, I don't think most people were wholesaling at all. So a lot of things that work from 2013, 14, all the way to 2021, when you have a market that much rapidly appreciating. So here's what I would say to this, is I would go back and just find out if you got the fundamentals of wholesaling down. First one, ODN. Are you using ODN, off-market direct to seller? It needs to sell. And let me tell you what, if you worked in any of my programs, if I got all your information, I'd know exactly where to point you to. I'm concerned if you've learned it and you did an interview, which I'm fine with, like, that's great. But 2019 was not a hard year to wholesaling. In fact, here's the problem is most wholesalers start wholesaling if they're in a good market and they get kind of like blind success. And then when things get tough, they say, well, it's harder and I'm struggling. I go, well, you know, the reality is you probably weren't really wholesaling. You were getting marginal spreads. And because the demand was so high, you couldn't screw it up. Now you actually have to provide value to your cash buyers to buy your contracts. Remember, they should be making money off of you. Most wholesalers from 2013, 14 on, they have no idea how this game is played because they had such a run up on their market. And if you don't believe me, look at these people's followings and everything else. They've fallen way off because what they used to teach, well, like when you get these big seminars and you tell everyone it's just a data dump, those days are over. It was just a tiny little fad. That wasn't wholesaling. That was just a niche way. That was a niche specialty of marketing. So you always use the fundamentals of your wholesale marketing, door knocking, government lists, all the court docs, everything. And you get those, and then you take your high equity list, all your X leads list, and that's how you build it. But if you built an entire business off of a data dump because somebody showed you a trend, or you're just trying to get 10% discounts because that's what your mentor taught me, that's not wholesaling. And I'm willing to bet that's one of your initial problems. And your expectation level is to do it exactly like you did in 2019. Here's the reality. Most of those people in 2019 are on. There's actually, I heard somebody do a podcast said they lost money wholesaling in 2022. Do you know how hard that is? Listen, if you do wholesaling right, you can't lose money. It's physically impossible. The only way you lose money in wholesaling is you become a speculator, you decide to do fix and flip, or you become a novation master, period. None of those things have to do with wholesaling. That's right. I'm telling you right now, novations have nothing to do with wholesaling. Is it a technique? Does it work? Yes. But it's not for the faint of heart. They're very, very difficult, and they require you to make legal moves, which I recommend you use with a lawyer. And if you make these legal moves without a lawyer, you're going to be at risk. And they have a massive failure ratio because you have to replace one contract with another, and you usually upset the seller when you do it. And a lot of these courses are taking you to take huge financial risk, and is going to be a real crush to a lot of people who have never done it before. Plus, you're not dealing with a motivated seller. You're typically dealing with delusional sellers, and they'll take a few of your words and mix them around. And when you have to go change that contract, they want to negotiate again with you. But there's really no other way to do it because I've watched it 100 times. I've done novations naturally. And when it's the only way to do something and we're fully transparent up front, and I don't invest a dime in those deals, we just have a different technique to do it. Do I make it my business? No. And the problem with that is if you make it your business and you teach it to brand new people that don't even understand the mechanics of real estate, much less wholesaling, that's why the novations have such a problem. They become such a problem that most title companies really don't want to do them, and they feel like they're very risky transactions. And I agree 100% of them. You're better off doing a straight up wholesale, in my opinion, because most of the time, greed takes over on a novation, either from the wholesaler or the seller themselves. And if they're both greedy, it usually winds up being a huge legal conflict in the end. In the end, who's going to get nailed? You are, because you're the professional investor. And if you take advantage of a seller who the only way you got to sign paperwork was over greed, then you got what's coming to you. It just, that's my opinion. I leave it at that, and I want everybody to understand that. So let me check a couple more questions here. Give a shout out to Cheryl. What's going on, Cheryl? I just discovered you and your son's channel. Thank you so much for the tremendous info and free course. That's what I need to learn. God bless you. Great. That's awesome. So Cheryl understands. Go over to freewholesaling.com. It's free, guys. And get the truth behind how wholesaling actually works. And listen, if you want to get out on the road and do tons of fun stuff like this, keep in mind, guys, I've been doing this 23 years. Zach's coming up on year 9, but he was doing it after his first year. And if you truly want freedom of your life, if you want to take care of the ones that you love, they're on the other side of the country. Wholesaling is one of the most amazing businesses that you can take with you. You can do wherever you want. I apologize for being late today. It's just sometimes I'm not as quick, and this LA traffic is something crazy. So I got some fun stuff lined up for later today, and I'm going to meet some really cool people over here. So what else did I have? That's it. I will we'll be back in Florida shortly by the end of this week. And but the thing is, we don't skip our live streams. We do live events. We do our local deals, and we do our national deals with all you guys with the JVs, and I appreciate you all for that. If you want to submit a deal, just go over to sellmypaper.com. If you guys want to check out and see how to work with us, check out xleads.com. We do support calls every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. This is wholesaling built for the wholesaler. It is 100% about wholesaling and nothing else. Finally, you got one place where you can log in, one charge to do absolutely everything. Check that out. Now, I'll be on tomorrow. We're going to have a really fun live stream. It will be on 1 p.m. Eastern. That one will be set up. I'll be ready to go, so don't worry about it. So if you go, hey, Rick, is he going to show up? I'll be here tomorrow. Check me out, 1 p.m. Eastern time on the Flip with Rick. And guys, do me a favor. Make sure that you smash that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you go over to Flip with Rick, subscribe to that, and check out my son's channel on Rick Ginn. And we appreciate you. So sorry I was running a little bit behind today, guys. I will make up for you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll be here. Be square. Love you guys. This is Rick Ginn checking out from LA. I'll see you soon. See you.